Welcome to What in the Shibal with Susie and Ed.
We're just two Asian Americans talking shit about shit.
With Archie.
Yay.
Who's too busy.
Very good today.
Yeah.
I'm going to get him another one of those little bone things.
We only give it to him on recording days because him and Colt, I feel like, would fight over it.
I get Colt one too.
Yeah,
It's
no.
not fair. I get Colt one of those big ones.
No, I don't know if
Those
your dogs are the
brontosaurus
same
bones.
way, but like I'll get them two of the same thing, but one of them will just want what the other one has. And I'm like, it's the same thing. And they're like, nope, I want it because he has it.
No, that's how it is. Always.
So-
Huey will, if I give each of them like a whatever, Huey will drop his somewhere where she's not and then go get hers. And I'm like, man, you're a selfish prick.
Yeah. And sometimes they'll just like switch because they think that they
It's
stole
so
each
dumb.
other's. And you're like, as long as
Dogs
this happened
are
peacefully.
so dumb. Dummy dogs. They're so
Oh. But how was your week?
terrible.
Why? What happened?
It's a sad story. You guys want to hear my really sad story? So I was like, I'm going to make kimchi this week. I have a hankering for it. I really want to do it. So I haven't done it in so long, probably years probably. Because it's a lot of work. It is so much work.
That's why I ran out of kimchi like 4 months ago and I haven't made it because I'm like, I
can't bring myself to just do
can't
it.
bring myself to do it.
This is why the story is so sad. So I go to the Koreatown Galleria, which is also super far. I have to make a special trip to the Korean market. I get the cabbage. I get the radish. I get the Asian pear. I get the Korean green onions. I get all the supplies and everything.
Oh man, the green onions at Korean restaurants are or Korean supermarkets are so much better.
Superior. So superior.
Why is that?
I think because they don't have like as much of the white. You know what I mean? Like it's just like the leaf. And it's like
Yeah,
so
but they're like always
thin.
thicker a little bit.
I
The
don't know.
bundles are like more. Yeah, I don't know what it is.
I don't know what it is, but they are superior. I agree.
Yeah.
And I bought everything except for the gochugaru because I have gochugaru at home. I always have it at home. So I'm like, oh, I have a huge bag of it. It's fine. So now remember, this is a labor-intensive process that takes hours because you have to salt the cabbage, let that soak, drain all the water out, and do that repeatedly. And then you also have to make the mashes. And the mashes are, with the onion and garlic and ginger and the fish and all this, all the pear, everything.
You have to like blend stuff
Yes.
and clean the blender.
There's so much cutting and all this, right?
So much cutting.
And then I also did like the glutinous rice paste that you add in. So I put everything in. And I add in the gochugaru. I put the I wash off all the fucking cabbage. I can't even talk. I'm so upset. And I mix it all together. It like looks beautiful. And then I was like, what? It looks a little darker or like doesn't quite look as red. Like what's going on? So I go to taste it. And I guess the package that had the gochugaru in it was opened and like it was no longer like fresh and it like kind of went bad. And
I
like
didn't even know it could do that.
I didn't know it could do that either. And it just kind of like went bitter. And like I tasted it and I was like, oh no, look, it tasted like earwax a little bit. And I was like, oh no.
Why do you know what that tastes
Well, everybody knows what earwax is. I don't eat it. I don't
I have no
Never?
idea
Oh, really?
what
Weird.
that could even remotely taste
Well,
like.
it's bitter.
Ew.
Never like had it somewhere. Okay, well, anyway.
No.
I don't try it.
I'm so confused. I don't want to know. I actually don't want to know.
Okay, anyway. And so I'm sitting there. Listen, don't make me more upset.
I didn't say anything.
I'm already very upset about it. And so, like, I did the version. I didn't do the version where you cut it all up first. I did the version where you open every single leaf and you put it lovingly in between every single leaf and you package it and you put it in the
I'm
byung.
too lazy
And
for
it's
that.
so beautiful. And I was like, it's so beautiful, but why is it that color? And like, it didn't really occur to me because I was just like in the throes of it. And I
Yeah.
was so,
Well, one,
like,
you didn't even know it could go bad. So why
No.
would that even
and I
be a
don't
thought?
know why I didn't think to taste it as I was going, which is something I always do when I'm cooking, but I just like wasn't in the mood to like taste it. Yes, I just wasn't. I don't know why. I don't know why.
I don't taste it until after I'm done mixing.
Right.
Before I jar it, just in case.
And also because it doesn't quite taste the same, just the paste by itself, because you need the saltiness of the radish to like complement it. So that that's the only way you really know.
And also, like, I don't want to keep wasting gloves. And every time, like, it even remotely touches my mouth, I'm like, dang it, I should change the glove. And
I got
wasteful.
I got the big pink Ajima gloves.
Oh, you got the rubber ones.
I got the big ones. I was like, oh, I'm officially an Ajima and I like it. It was, yeah. So I was like, okay, I'm kind of at this crossroads right now. Do I just toss it? Do I, cause I wasn't gonna, I didn't think I could just like, I wasn't gonna like wash every piece of it off. Like it would already permeated everything. It was
no, you just put it back in the tub and just fill it up and just dump it is what I would do.
I don't know. I couldn't do it. And so I was really pissed and I was really sad. So I'm going to reattempt it today.
Wait, so you haven't washed it off yet?
I chucked it.
Even all the pechu?
I chucked it. I was in a really bad place. I was in a really dark place.
Now I see why it was so sad.
Already nighttime.
That is sad.
And I was expecting to wake up to this beautiful kimchi in the morning and the next week or so. And I was so disappointed. And I was so upset. And I was just like exhausted. I was exhausted because I'd already had a full day. And then I was like, I'm going to do this. I got to do this. I have the ingredients now. I got to make it now. And then to have it just come out so just horribly, I was just like, I'm going to just pretend like this never happened. I'm going to erase this from my memory. After this conversation, I'm not going to talk about it ever again.
It sounds calm, but I bet in the moment it was an overwhelming of emotion.
It wasn't even,
feel that.
I wasn't like raging pissed. I like completely like dissociated. I went outside of my body and I just sat down and I was like,
it's not, you should have just washed it off. But even with saying that, I do relate because sometimes when things go so wrong like that, I get so overwhelmed.
I'm like, fuck it.
Yeah.
Get it away from me. I don't want to see it. Get it away from me. I don't even want to know that it exists.
And it's not even like anger or anything like that. I just get overwhelmed and I like need it. I want it to die.
Take it away.
Just like die.
Cease to exist. Yeah. Cease to be even a memory. Just go away. Like even right now, I feel like I just re-entered this room. Like I like went to like a different place because it was so disappointing. And I know it sounds so silly, but it's like, it is such a labor of love. Making kimchi is such a, but you know what? I will say this. One bright thing that came out of it was like my appreciation for like my grandmother and my mother and like all of our ancestors. I'm like, to have to put so much effort into this. And the thing about kimchi is like, once you make it, like it's made. You can't just like make it every day. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, it just is such a labor of love. And so I've just really reinvigorated my appreciation for it. And I'm glad I have that.
In fact, I used to like make fun of Korean people because I was like, oh my God, why you're so bougie? Why do you need like a kimchi fridge? But once I started making it regularly, I was like, oh, I'm having to do this like 3 times a year because I go through the kimchi so fast. Like between eating it with dinner and then like using all the really fermented ones to make all the jigaes, the sundubus, the pancakes, everything. You use so much kimchi. Yeah. And finally I was like, oh, if I had a kimchi fridge, I would just need to make it 1 time a year. Yeah. Because I would make like a whole kitchen.
Well, that's the thing is like kimchi. If you don't have a separate fridge, not even just because the smell permeates everything in the refrigerator. No, it just takes up so much space. You wouldn't have any space for anything else.
Whenever I make a kimchi, the whole bottom shelf is just kimchi, along with the fermenting big jar in the door. Yep. There's no room for anything else. Nope.
My parents' kimchi fridge is like the Corvette or like the Mercedes of
kimchi fridges. I really want one.
So nice. I'm like, this is nicer than just like a regular fridge. I'm like, their kimchi fridge is definitely nicer than their regular fridge. Like,
it always is. Because like each compartment can be like temperature controlled.
Oh yeah.
Very precisely.
So cool.
Yeah. And humidity too, I think. So it's not just the crisper drawers. And it's not even just a slider either. It's like all electronic. Yeah. It's very precise.
Oh, Koreans and their
Sometimes kimchi. I do wonder, I watch people with kimchi fridges. I was like, I would just buy 2 kimchi fridges. Like, why even bother having just the generic, boring fridge when you could have one that controls the temperature on each compartment separately. So, like, because in kimchi fridges, you can have one that's like stays super cold, so it doesn't ferment as quickly.
Yeah.
And then you could have ones that are like not as cold, so it ferments more. So you have like varying degrees of fermentation from the one batch.
Make your kimchi, do you immediately put it in the fridge or do you let it sit overnight outside at room temperature?
Okay, so I prefer freshly made kimchi flavor, like the seng kimchi.
Yeah,
like
me too.
Super
I like
seng.
it before it even goes into the container.
Yeah, same.
Yeah.
That's why, like, those last couple bites, I'm like, yes.
Can you imagine my disappointment when I was like, "Ooh, yay! This is my favorite time to eat that."
Why? Has it been this long since I made it? No, so like I'll put 90% of the kimchi immediately in the fridge.
Yeah.
And then I'll put one of those like large kimchi containers, you know, that you buy in the jar. Cause like when you make it home, you use those like double seal containers, right?
I do that, but I also always save the jars from previous kimchi, store-bought kimchi, so I use those too.
So like I'll fill up the big ones and then I'll let that one sit out for 10 days.
Out?
Out.
Even bury it in the ground? That's what our ancestors did.
I know they did, but they also used
my grandmother did it.
Clay jars, and I'm using plastic. So
also, no, but what backyard am I digging in?
Yeah, that's what I was mostly thinking. But what I do
like
is
Griffith Park or something.
Yeah, nobody look under here.
Like an X with 2 sticks on it.
They call the bomb squad because they think you're doing something. Then they're like,
weird Asian guys digging in the ground.
They're like, sir, I think it's food, but it does seem to be filled with gas and it looks like it's
bubbling.
About to explode.
It's hissing.
So I'll take that one jar and typically I will wrap it in a towel so it's dark because, you know, those jars are clear. Yeah. And then I will put it in a part of my kitchen that gets no sunlight.
Yeah.
And I leave it there for 10 days. And like every other day I have to open it just to make sure.
I'm always afraid that I'm doing the fermentation process wrong.
And then it'll get moldy.
And then it gets bad. Like I'm so nervous about that.
You'll know.
I know, but I won't know till 10 days later and I've already fucked up one batch. I'm not going to do it again.
And even there was one time when I like didn't flip it for a while and the top whites were like a little white and I was just like, just smush it in. I was like, I didn't see anything. I was like, the kimchi bacteria gut will take care of it.
The probiotics will know what to do.
Yeah, it'll eat it or whatever probiotics do.
So, I don't know.
But yeah, that's what I do. And then, so I'll have one batch that's ready to be used for cooking immediately. Yeah. Well, immediately after 10 days.
Right.
And then the other will stay sengimchi for a pretty long time. Yeah. For like at least 3 weeks before it starts getting a little sour.
My perfect window is like 5 days in the fridge. You know, just enough, but like I like it to snap. I don't like it. Well, I like kimchi pretty much anyway.
It never tastes the same as when you're eating it with the gloves on.
Yeah, that's true.
It has nothing to do with the gloves. Even after a day, it will start fermenting just a little bit. Yeah. And it's not the same as that, like, my favorite time to eat kimchi is like the dinner the day you made it. You know what I mean? Like, oh yeah, with the rice. I actually don't love fermented kimchi.
I don't like it too fermented either.
I'll eat it. I still enjoy it, but I'm not like, oh, yay.
No, I like it much fresher.
Yeah.
Definitely on the fresher side.
That is sad.
It's so sad.
Dang, so you went out and you bought all that puchu again and stuff?
But everything all over again.
Oh, man. I would just try to salvage it just out of pure laziness because cleaning the puchu.
I almost feel like cleaning it might have been even more labor intensive though, because then I have to peel every fucking layer, open it up. And you know what I'm saying?
At that point, I would have just chopped it, put it in a whatever, and just like taken it outside with the hose. Just like put it on jet spray.
My dogs are like, what the fuck? Yeah. Yeah. And then my neighbors are like, what is happening?
There is this sea of red liquid.
There is a dead body in her Suchi's backyard. And she's trying to spray it down.
And for some reason, this person's blood has flakes of red in it. Actually, it's brown.
And green. Now it's brown.
Susie is getting rid of an old body that she killed.
Could you imagine if I was like, because I have a pressure washer in the back.
You're about to say,
because I have a dead body. It's very different. No. I was spraying it like the smell, like the people at the school across the way would be like,
Something
that
died.
weird lady across the street killed something. Only we can joke about kimchi smelling bad. How was your week?
Kimchi doesn't even smell bad. It's just really garlicky.
Yeah, and that's one of the I've never understood like why people think it smells bad. It's like you've smelled garlic before.
Yeah, it just smells like garlic.
What's the problem?
The rest of it doesn't smell. It's just the garlic. And like it doesn't smell any more than pickles.
No, and pickles stink sometimes.
Pickles are worse, I think.
I think so too.
I prefer garlic. But like, I'm of the type when I was like, you know, sometimes you watch like cooking shows and the judges will be like, oh, it's too garlicky. I was like, I don't know what that means.
Yeah, that's not a thing.
Yeah, people, they're like, it's too garlicky and it ruined it. I'm like, I don't comprehend that sentence.
We're also from a culture that like takes a clove of garlic, dips it in gochujang and just eats it. You know what I mean? So like,
but technically,
that's so delicious.
That's when it's the least garlicky.
When it's whole?
Yeah, the more you deteriorate garlic is the more, yeah. So, but yeah.
Think about pickling some garlic.
Those pickle garlics that you gave us after we recorded that one time were delicious.
So good.
They were so crunchy.
I know.
What brand was that?
I can't say it because I found out that they donate to a bunch of conservative,
wow.
Yeah, like people. So it's like, well, I guess I'll make my own then. It's some gas station in Texas or some shit.
Oh, as long as it's not Come and Go.
No, I don't even know what that is. What the hell is that?
There's a gas station brand called Come and Go. It's spelled K-U-M, but they knew what they were doing.
That's worse, I feel like. Anyway, how was your week?
It was good.
How's the dating going? I've been dying to ask you.
Well, it has
after your panic text the other day, I was like, oh my God, he's stressing out of it.
When was that I texted you that?
4 days ago.
Wow, it seems like so much longer because my weekend was so busy.
Why?
Okay, wait. So that day I texted you. So I texted Susie on Thursday, I think it was, or Wednesday. And I wrote, what do I do if a girl asks me for my Instagram?
Right.
Because the way I always thought that would play out was that question wouldn't come up until after we've met. I don't know why.
Why would you think that?
I don't know.
That's like such a like go-to for people. Like one of the first things they ask when they like are like, oh, I want to be friends with you or I want to get to know you better.
Yeah, I don't think I thought that through.
Yeah, sounds like it.
So, this girl asked, she's like, hey, what's your Instagram? And so I texted Susie. I was like, I don't know what to do. And then she also then followed up with, would you mind doing a video call? So then I started to be like, oh, I think she asked for my Instagram so that she doesn't have to give me her number just in case I'm a weirdo.
Oh, okay.
And we could just like video call on Instagram. So then I gave it to her and with like, this addendum that was like, hey, okay, so.
How many Instagram followers do you have?
Like just over like 20,000, 21,000, which like isn't a lot. But from a normal person perspective, it's a lot.
Yeah. My personal has like 400 followers and my personality or whatever has 70,000.
I didn't even think that I should have a personal Instagram until I started doing the dating.
I was like, you should have. Yeah,
I should have a personal Instagram. It's just for this, But I was like, if I make one now and I have like 3 followers.
No, but then that would make it weirder too, though. Because then if you only gave her your personal one and didn't give her your like personality, what do you call that? I don't even know. Personality one or whatever.
Persona?
She'd be like, why did you not tell me that you have this other part of your life? That's weird that you just kind of like, I don't know.
Well, anyway. We're getting to know each other. Did you tell me everything? No.
God, you don't have to call her out like that. Shit, she's just asking a fucking question. This fictitious chick is like, what do I do?
So I gave her this addendum. I was like, so I have to tell you a little bit about my Instagram. And I think I even put this in like parentheses. I was like, I know that sounds like it's leading to like, I'm going to stick up for having like a fuckboy Instagram. But I was like, I swear that's not what this is. It's literally in the message.
She's like, taking a lot of twists and turns.
I even was thinking that. I was like, how would I interpret this? I was like, I don't know any other way to do this, so this is happening.
Okay, so then
I told her, I was like, hey, I do some like advocacy type of work, make like some content. So just a heads up. So I gave it to her. And then she goes, "Oh, so do you want to do it on Instagram or FaceTime?" And I was like, "Oh, so we didn't have to do
give
this.
it up for nothing.
Damn it." So then I was like, "Yeah, whatever you prefer." So then I gave her my number, and then we FaceTimed, and then
weird.
I was like, so awkward. I hate it.
What if she's listening to the podcast? Now she knows your Instagram.
Well, now I feel bad saying this next part because like she looked a little bit different. I feel like everyone looks a little bit different than their photos. I probably look a little bit different.
If I'm being totally honest with you, I think you look better in person than in the photographs you posted.
Thanks.
Which only works in your favor.
Yeah.
That's why I didn't say anything, because I was like, it's better to undersell and overperform than the other way around.
Yeah. But I feel like maybe I was like 10 pounds skinnier in some of those photos.
Skinnier isn't better. Skinnier isn't better for everybody.
Yeah.
Especially chicks in this age demographic. They're looking for dad bods. Don't worry about it.
But she just was it's not like she was ugly or anything. Yeah. She just
She oversold and underperformed.
I wouldn't even say that. It's just she looked a little bit different. Maybe like a little bit older. Yeah, that's true.
FaceTime is also, people don't know their angles.
Yeah.
That's true.
Also, she's like an academic, which all could have worked out. I don't know. But I feel like somewhere in the personalities, it just wasn't clicking, you know?
Yeah, that's good.
So then I haven't talked to her since.
That's okay. I mean, if she hasn't reached out, then maybe she felt
No,
the same
she hasn't
way.
either. And in fact, she was the one who then started, when we were ending the conversation, she was like, well, you know, good luck with everything. And I was like, yep, that's a see ya. Yeah.
See you never.
But then, you know, me, I was just like, yeah, sure. I was like, you know, maybe we'll like talk again or whatever. Cause I'm just like too much of a nice guy. And then afterwards I was like, oh, I look like an idiot.
Just say what you think. Like, well, this was terrible, and I don't want to do this with you ever again. But I hope you have a nice life.
Yeah.
God, thank God I'm not dating right now.
Yeah.
I have no tolerance.
There's that, and then there's like a couple other girls that I've been talking to, but because she's the one that initiated the video call, and I'm pretty sure these other girls are waiting for me to initiate something, and I don't know what I want to let alone.
Well, I think this video call experience,
I can't tell if it's
good,
like
though.
better to video chat or to just like meet in person.
I think, okay, for me, from my perspective as a woman, I feel like I'd feel better video chatting with somebody first, because then you can kind of get at least a little bit of a vibe off of somebody and see if it's worth. Because when women go out there,
I just
it's
like
risky.
Suck at it so much.
Why are you just all?
It's like you don't know me at all.
I know. Like I said, the words escaped my lips, and I was like, "What am I saying?" Yeah, this is awkward.
I'm like fine in normal, but like the introductory part is so awkward for me because I don't know what to talk about.
Yeah.
My only go-tos are the ones that are the obvious ones. It's like weather.
God.
Yeah, I'm like, it's nice out today.
Oh my God. Hey, I gotta go, man.
Yeah, like I never know what to talk about.
Well, you can, there are things that you can like look up. Like
so,
prompts.
like, how do you feel about what's happening in Gaza right now?
So if you could be any animal, what would it be?
I hate that stuff.
Well, but there are questions that you can ask that I think, you know.
Google.
Your family. Tell me about your family. Tell me about your job. Tell me about your hobbies. Do you, I really love to do this. Do you ever do that? Do you enjoy working out? Like, whatever. Just questions that you would want to know. Do you like Korean food? I have a friend that just ruined 18 pounds of kimchi. Want to hear the story?
Fair.
And I think you're not giving yourself enough credit. I think you, maybe are awkward, but it's not as bad as it feels to you. Like, it doesn't outwardly look awkward to anybody else. You know what I mean? It just feels awkward because it's you. You're in your body.
I do live by that as well. It's usually the go-to phrasing would always be, you're only as shady as you act. Because when I was growing up, I was doing a lot of illegal things. So it's like, as long as you act like you're not being shady, you're not really coming off shady. But it's the same, if you don't.
Right. And remember, too, nobody thinks about you as much as you think about yourself. So she probably also was like, oh my God, I was so awkward. Was I so weird? The next time I video chat with somebody, I'm going to do X, Y, and Z differently. You know what I mean? Like,
I think she thought I was an idiot. Cause like she actually has a dog that's like, and that dog and Colt were born like 5 days apart.
Oh, cute.
So, when we were talking about that, I was like, yeah, the only thing I was like, Colt's pretty great. I was like, I just wish I was able to socialize him because he was born and then 5 months later the pandemic happened. So I was like, by the time he was like, you know, vaccinated for parvo and everything, I was like, you couldn't meet anyone. And she was like, well, you should have taken your dog to like PetSmart to do the socialization thing and like da 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 da. And I was like, oh, I didn't think of that. And then I was like, I'm pretty sure she thinks I'm an idiot.
But also, like, okay, I didn't.
Yeah.
So
that was also my feeling as well.
She sound. I don't like her.
So, yeah, I was like, I don't think we're really gelling.
I don't know. I think people just have such a problem with phrasing things. Excuse me, that is my finger. Do you mind? Like, oh yeah, too bad you didn't know PetSmart had this thing, like, because they knew the dogs needed. You know what I mean? Like, it's such a different thing to be like, you know, well, you should have done this.
Yeah, you know how dog people can be, though. You know?
Yes, I mean, I'm a dog person.
Very
but
judgy.
I'm not like that.
No, but I know, but some can be. Like, why didn't you do this? It kind of had that feel.
I would never do that. I would do this and
And I was like, I get it. You're a professor, but I'm not an idiot child.
You're not my professor. Shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
Oh, you're so relaxed now. Look at him.
Yeah. He like shows his teeth, like almost he's smiling when he's really happy. And I'm like, you look aggressively special.
Buffalo chicken wings. Have you seen that TikTok? Sorry, you can cut that part out. He's so into it.
Yeah. But other than that,
yeah, why was your weekend so busy?
Yeah, I had that on Thursday after I had gone to a funeral for not for anyone I know personally. It was for Young Yang.
Oh,
yeah,
right.
So that morning I happened to, because I check the GoFundMe's once in a while, you know, just to make sure how they're doing. And his brother had just put up an update that I hadn't seen till the morning of, that the funeral was that day. And it said it was open to the public. And then like, I was like battling with like, should I go? It's so personal. I don't want to intrude on the family thing, but I also feel like I should go. Like, so I went. It was at Forest Lawn, you know, at the chapel there, and it was packed. Yeah, I think his like whole church was there. And the like mom and dad and the brother made a memorial video. And like there was one part especially where like everyone started crying, and I was in the back being like, don't you cry. Not that like there's anything shameful about crying, but with me, once one tear drops, it quickly turns into like, and you know what I mean? Like I was like, don't make a spectacle of yourself, you asshole. So like, but there was this one part when the dad was he goes, I think he trusted me more than I trusted you. And he's like, I am so sorry for that. Because, like, you know, his son had schizophrenia. So, like, with people with mental illness, you kind of, like, don't trust them as much. Whereas in, like, his son, and that I almost lost it. I was like, oh, my God. Oh, my God. Yeah. And then, so then I talked to the girl after that. And then
that's when you talked to her?
Yeah, like an hour after the funeral.
Christ. Okay, well, that informs me.
And she's like, what were you doing? I was like, oh, nothing. I was like, don't bring up the funeral, you dummy.
So I was at this funeral where this man was killed by the police. You can watch this video on my Instagram.
So then I had that, and then I like met up with a friend for lunch, and then on Sunday, and then went to the rally for Young Yang after that. And then immediately after, 2 hours after I had just eaten lunch with a friend, my other friend who was at the rally was like, you want to grab dinner? So I was like, yeah, sure. Because I don't know how to say no.
Right.
Yeah, it was just like a lot. Because like normally I'm just like, you know, making TikToks, hanging out with the dogs at home.
Yeah. I was going to say, that sounds like a full weekend for you. That sounds like a lot.
That was a lot. I was exhausted. Yeah, I'm not going to tell you who, but I've been drinking this cannabis-infused Coke all day. I mean, during this recording. And I feel like I'm not falling asleep because there's caffeine in it, but like I feel like my eyes are half closed.
You feel it then?
You know that like heavy lid
Yeah,
feeling sometimes? Yeah. I feel that. But I forgot I was drinking something. But this is also weird because like I don't ever drink soda. This is literally maybe my first soda in like
so 50%
at least
of
2
us
years.
is high right now.
Yeah. Did you watch that cult movie documentary?
You know, I only watched a little bit of it. I don't know why. I just don't really feel much interest in it. I'm not a huge fan of cults. I also don't really follow any like TikTok dancers. So I'm like, this is just kind of out of like any of my personal interests.
Yeah.
I am interested in the idea that like we were all on this app together while this cult was happening like behind the scenes. But beyond that, I'm just like, eh.
Yeah, that's mostly why
okay.
I kept watching it because I kept being like, how did I not know anything about this?
Yeah, I don't think most people did it. That's why.
No, but apparently there was like some expose videos that, you know, I'm sure pretty must have gone somewhat viral, you know? And I just was like, I knew zero about this. And then it especially intrigued me that not that I knew any of them by name, but some of them, because I do watch dance videos on TikTok sometimes, that like I did recognize them because they came up a couple times, especially because they were the ones that oftentimes I'd be like, gee, I wonder if they're paying someone to record this, because they clearly weren't doing it on their phones. And I know enough about photography and the amount of blurring happening in the background that it's with a really long telephoto lens, which are expensive, but also are like this big, which means that like those things also have to be further away for you to be that size on the screen.
Have somebody operate
So
it.
like, there's no way you're just like leaving this like $3,000 lens, like 200 feet away from you on Santa Monica Pier. You know what I mean? So I was like, who is doing this? So like, it always, sometimes I would watch it because I would just like be like, who is doing this? Are they making so much money from these videos that they're able to pay someone? So when they were like in that, you know, documentary, and then they were the same dancers that I wondered that about. And then you find out that it was like the pastor's son who was doing all the filming and stuff. I was like, oh my God, it all makes sense.
Why do they always have to be Korean, man?
They're not always.
Koreans do love their cults though.
But there have been a decent number of Korean
more than
cults.
I'm comfortable with.
They're mostly in Korea though, at least. And they normally target Koreans. This one was crazy because it was in America.
A bunch of American people like killed themselves though. Or no, I'm thinking.
Yeah. But was that from a Korean leader?
No, that's a Jonestown.
The one that was in Texas, right?
Yeah.
Like maybe like 15.
Don't drink the Kool-Aid thing. No.
Yeah. No, it was a while ago actually.
Yeah. I don't think they were Korean.
I don't think they were Korean, but sometimes I get them mixed up in my head because I think they were Seventh-day Adventists. And I grew up Seventh-day Adventist.
Dude, I'm telling you, I don't know. Cults are just not my.
Yeah, but they're like, they just intrigue me so much. You know?
I guess I'm. Sorry.
I just don't understand the people who allow themselves to get sucked up. And I get it, they're in a vulnerable position, like no judgment whatsoever, but I'm just always like,
I feel like it can happen to anybody.
It's so sad. I know, but that's what I mean. It's like just so sad that you're like, how, why,
dude,
how could you have been stopped or saved?
I don't know. Like you said, like when people are vulnerable and they feel like they need a place to belong, or there's this promise of like fame, and I feel like this was kind of part of that, like all rolled into one.
And it did work.
Yeah.
You watched enough for them to talk about
one
like
of the girls still in it?
A bunch of them are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the thing about like not knowing about it is like, but imagine how many like pockets of TikTok there are. Millions. You know what I mean? Like
that's why TikTok is so good.
Right. There are millions. Like I have at the top of my mind right now, there's this woman named Fanita who is having drama with Alex Earl, who isn't having drama back at her. You know, like you have no idea what I'm talking about, do you?
No idea.
You have no idea. Fanita drama. And then there's this other, did you see about the lady who says like, I'm not going to ever return my shopping cart. And if you want to give me a dirty look, fuck you.
Oh my God.
Like, I understand what she's trying to say.
But I feel like she's just backtracking.
No, but it's the way she's saying it.
That too.
She's saying like, fuck you. I'm not doing it because I don't want to. Versus, I think a lot of you are underestimating how dangerous it can be by leaving your cart or leaving your car with your children in it. And fine, the reception for that would have been much, much better. But like, I'm not moving my cart and I'm not leaving my kids. And if you give me a dirty look, you can fuck off. It's like, that was a lot. That's a lot. Like,
yeah, because
it's too much, actually.
Because it's not even just in the delivery. The way she worded it, it almost sounded like the kids were secondary to like with the groceries. You know what I mean? Like it didn't come off like it was a safety thing.
No, not at all.
Wording.
Well, it just came off like I'm selfish and I don't want to take my cart back. That's what it came off as. And a lot of people are like, oh my God, you're such a selfish asshole. It's like, no, I see what she's trying to say. What she's saying is like, there are dangers leaving your kids alone in the car, even if it's only if you go 10, 20 feet. Kids can get kidnapped. Bad things can happen in the car. What if they get in a car accident? What if somebody carjacks you? Like, yes, there are definitely things that can happen.
Because that has risen, the amount of people that carjack not realizing there's a kid in the back. Yep.
Terrifying.
Yep.
And I totally get that. But the way she positioned it was from a place of like, I can do whatever I want. Fuck you. And I don't want to be part of society the way society wants me to be a part of it. When that's not really at all what she was trying to say. So like, I understand. But I wonder, maybe she did it on purpose, right? Having this discourse now happening because of how she delivered it is only happening because it got so big.
I don't think it was planned.
She's not a dumb lady. She's actually really smart. And I know she's smart because she follows me. No, but she does a lot of like
it could be a hate follow.
No,
I'm just kidding.
She does a lot of the reason I think she follows me is because I do like some like advocacy and stuff for like kids who are exploited online, and she mostly does that. That's like her whole angle. And so I think that's, like I said, she's a really smart lady. She's gonna know that people are gonna like comment and say like, you're so selfish, or why don't you do this instead? And now the topic of like why she made that video is at the forefront of this whole debacle. So maybe she's a fucking genius, because it's true. A lot of people don't think about the dangers of leaving your kids in a car.
Yeah, I left. I like tried not to watch it because I kept seeing it in like headlines and stuff. Mm-hmm. And then it wasn't until this morning before I came that I finally was like, fine. So I watched it. So I didn't even get a chance to like look at her page or anything. But yeah, that makes sense. Maybe.
And I think maybe I'll make a video about it because I see what she was trying to say. I understand what she's saying because I don't like leaving my kids alone in the car either, and they're like older. But like, what if somebody carjacks my car?
Yeah, I covered a story
That's
like
terrifying.
a couple months ago.
Right, that little Asian kid, right?
Yeah. His dad was like doing Uber Eats or whatever and left him in the car. And people were like, "That's so dumb. Why would you do that?" And a lot of people were like, "A lot of people actually leave their kids in the car when they do food delivery."
Well, because you think like, I'm gonna lock the car, I'm gonna walk away for 2 seconds, I'll be right back. It's like right.
But the thing about that is like you only need to forget to lock your car
one time.
Yeah. Like so many things in life.
Or I think like, what if, somebody intentionally tries to like kidnap them and they see that I've left my kid alone in the car. You know what I mean?
Also
like
happens a lot.
A lot. So again, I understand what she's trying to say. And my initial feeling is like, if she had phrased it differently, it would have been received better. But if she had phrased it differently, it wouldn't have gotten the traction that it has gotten, and therefore wouldn't have so many people talking about it. Like we're talking about it, and we just had this conversation about leaving your kids alone in a car and the safety behind it. You know what I mean?
It's just like so crazy to intentionally get people to hate on you.
Listen, no one stresses out more than me. Remember, I almost had a fucking nervous breakdown when those British people were fucking pissing me. I was like, I'm quitting TikTok. I'm never gonna be back to the internet. The internet's so mean.
Susie was even like, don't post any clips on one of the Shibal for a day or two.
Don't post anything. Don't talk about anything. Don't do anything. My life is ruined. Everybody's so mean. I can't stand it when people are mean to me or like, hateful. But, some people can compartmentalize and say like, it's not about me and it's whatever. Like, somebody told me die chink the other day in my DMs. I was like, that's crazy. Let's talk about it. That's a lot. What did I do? And then he said, my mom has cancer. And I was like, you're doing so much. You're doing so much.
That's so crazy.
For what? Those things.
Crazy.
Those
he
things,
went from die chink to my mom has
die chink. Your mom has cancer, and so do you.
Oh, he said that your mom. Oh, okay.
Yeah. I was like, what? But those are just like so ridiculous that it doesn't bother me. But when it's like people who like comment things like, this take is terrible. You're so dumb. This is so stupid. How could you say? That's when I'm like, oh God, I feel icky, and I'm feeling really bad feelings about myself, and I feel like I'm such an idiot.
Or sometimes you'll like scroll through like past like hundreds of comments, and you'll find like 4 that say that, and you'll focus on that.
Those, yeah. 30,000 comments. I find the 3 and I'm like, they hate me. They think I'm stupid. But I thought I was
But it's
smart.
it's not even the sad crying thing. It just like plays repeatedly in my head throughout the day.
This lady is a try-hard who's too sensitive. Okay. True. I just want everybody to be happy. They're so fucking mean. Die, chink. That's a lot. What was really funny, though, is when I first got the DM, the first DM was just the word chink. I was like, I could just ignore it. But then I was like, fuck it. So I commented. I was like, oh, actually, I go by Sujia. And then he goes, die, chink. And then I was like, and then, did you see the video that I made?
Oh, it was in the comments?
It was in a DM.
Oh, okay.
And I was like, oh, we're talking about mortality and, or, whatever. And I was like, the funny part is that person doesn't realize that I baited them and knew exactly what they were going to say so that I could make a video about it. Like, it's like, you're not as smart as you think you are. And actually, I'm going to take this and I'm going to use it. And with this video, I'm going to now raise another $10,000 for a little girl who has a cleft palate in Gaza who needs surgery.
That's funny.
So let me just make some lemonade out of these lemons. And the lemons that you voluntarily gave me. So to you, troll, it is you that is fucked.
Whew. What do you want to talk about now, or do you want to read some Am I the A-holes?
I just want to play with Archie, actually.
None of the above. So D. I just might as well read some.
Yeah, you read them all. This is a listener write-in. Hi, I'm a 23-year-old Black girl who loves listening to K-pop and watching Korean dramas. As I was learning more about the culture surrounding this particular form of media, I came across the word Koreaboo, and after learning about the definition, I've always tried to not, when talking about my interests in Korean dramas and K-pops, sound like I'm coming from a place that attributes to that word and meaning. As I want to study in my future graduate school endeavors Korean popular culture and intersectionality of Black American popular culture, I don't want to be a person who is seen fetishizing people and their culture, especially as a Black girl. Fast forward to my being in spaces where people ask me about why I'm interested in it, and I have an interaction with a white peer of mine who I think was trying to paint me out to be something that I'm not. I was very excited about my new photo card I received from a friend as a present. I was showing it off, and most of the time I don't because of the Koreaboo thoughts, but this time I was really excited because it was from a new group I liked. The white peer said, the white peer, it's just a weird combination of words. The white peer then said, it's just a guy on a card, and I laughed and agreed and said, yeah, it's just a boy on a card. And then they looked at me weird and then proceeded to say I was infantilizing Asian men by saying this. I was confused and hurt by this comment, especially since I thought it was coming from a friend. So I took it to heart and looked back on my actions and conversations to see if I did do that, or was she just being mean since she gave me a weird look. She's given me weird looks before when talking about K-pop. I kindly asked her why she would say that, and then she told me to look at myself and figure out why. Would she said that if it wasn't true? But am I the asshole, or would I be the asshole if I attribute her words to she wanted to be mean and tear me down, or is there some truth to her statement? Sorry, that was really hard to read.
I think
worded.
Yeah. There was like some syntax errors and stuff, I think, from maybe not rereading it.
So this is a young Black woman who's 23 years old, loves K-pop, and K-dramas. And then when she talks about it, people tell her that she is fetishizing and infantilizing Asian people. And
I mean, it's kind of tough to say because it's kind of sometimes in the delivery, right, too?
Sure. And there's a greater conversation, I think, about the intersectionality between K-pop and, like, as she was saying, African-American Black pop culture, especially American Black pop culture, and how those things overlap, and how the people who participate in it have to recognize both of those things. It's tough. It's really tough, right? Because we all know that K-pop heavily appropriates Black culture, heavily appropriates Black style, Black music. And some K-pop artists are very good about making sure that people understand that they know about those contributions. So, there's a big conversation between appropriation, appreciation, and I think some people want to. And I think because she's black, I think that also plays into this as well, right? Because that's hard. That's hard because can she be appropriating something that was already appropriated from her?
Yeah, but there's like always been across. I don't think the problem is in appropriation. I've realized recently. I think the problem is in exploitation.
Okay.
You know what I mean? I think, but like, so like, there's been a cross appropriating of cultures from Black and Asian. I think there's been more exploitation from Asian, like taking Black, music and stuff like that from Korea, and Asia in general. But
Wait, say that again. I'm trying to follow you.
so, like, there's always been like some relation between Black and Asian cultures.
There has?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Like, for instance, like Black communities love like Asian kung fu
Okay.
movies and stuff like that.
Okay.
And
Not always, but
right,
yes.
yeah, yeah.
Okay.
But there's always been some like common ground, I think, between the two cultures. And so there's been some of that, but there's been more exploiting from Asia for Black culture.
Well, I think if correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that you're saying, well, see, that's what I'm saying though, because that's in the appropriation. Whereas Black
Yeah, yeah.
culture does appreciate like kung fu movies. They love Bruce Lee, in like the 70s and stuff like that. So yes, definitely. But what I think you're saying is that I'm just going to speak specifically about Korean people, but the Koreans have appropriated and profited from exploiting Black culture in
Yeah,
a way
yeah,
that
yeah.
Black culture never did from Asian culture.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
don't
But I'm
think.
only saying that because I think she liked Korean music and Korean dramas because of the slight overlapping and common ground in cultures. And then while doing that, came across, the like wanting to like further investigate into the intersectionality with Black American culture. So all I'm saying is that like I think she is I'm saying all of that to say I think she's coming from a genuine place.
Of course, she wants to study it in her graduate work.
No, no,
you
no,
know
but
what I mean?
but I don't think that's the reason why she started listening to K-pop and Korean
No, I didn't.
dramas.
No, I didn't say that.
But I'm just saying that like she liked it because there's like some commonality in dramas, music, but possibly probably because in K-pop there is a lot of heavy influence in American Black culture
I don't
music.
know. I mean, I don't know that I don't know that she said any of that, or I didn't infer that. But I think what she's asking is like, am I a Koreaboo?
No, but
And is
that's what
that
I'm trying to
problematic
say.
because I'm Black?
That's what I'm trying to say because all of that I think she is genuine and not fetishizing is what I'm trying to say.
Okay.
I think she has just more from like a cross sectioning of the cultures, like
I guess.
the way Black dramas and Korean dramas are very similar. They're very dramatic. Whereas in like white American TV tries to be more like paint this picture of normal. Whereas in Korean and Black dramas, we go for the extremes of what dramas are because that's what we're entertained by. So what I'm saying is like there's like some similarities in culture. I think the bigger problem here though is the projectioning from white people who learn like catchphrases from
Right.
watching TikToks and then projecting stuff that doesn't apply to maybe Black people because they just learned this new thing.
Yes, but she did say like she doesn't want to be a person who's seen fetishizing people.
But that's what I'm saying. I don't think she is fetishizing people because she's actually more drawn to Korean music and Korean dramas because of the similarities with Black culture, is what I'm trying to say.
Did she say, just like a sidebar, did she say that anywhere?
No. I'm not saying
Okay.
that. I'm saying that.
But that's a big inference from you.
I mean, it is, but I'm just saying to say that like that's probably more the case than she could be fetishizing Asian people.
Well, that's the whole question. Is like,
Well, that's why I started off by saying it's kind of hard because it's like big parts like in the delivery.
Right, that's true. But what I'm saying is like I don't know like whatever I don't know why she likes K-pop or why she likes K-dramas. That I think is just kind of it is what she likes. I don't know if it's because she sees similarities between the black community doing those things and Korean K-dramas and
No,
music
and I'm
being
not saying
similar.
she recognizes it,
Uh-huh.
but that might be like part of the reason why she's drawn to it. Is what I'm saying is because
Or part of it could be because she fetishizes Asian. I'm not
it
saying
could
that
be.
right.
It
I'm not
could
saying that
be.
she is. I'm just saying it could be that. So it's difficult to know, but I don't know. I mean, I don't think she is.
That's what I mean. And I don't think we have enough information to
Yeah.
really make a thing.
Yeah. Well, I think, something that Ron is saying is true. Like because she does listen to our podcast, it's probably because she wants to have of appreciation for it and be aware of fetishizing things and not doing that. But I can't tell from what
I mean,
I've
I could be
read.
being fetishized. Just kidding. I was mostly kidding, but
Well, it's true.
it is a possibility.
But that's the thing about fetishization is most people who do it don't even realize that they're doing it or don't understand what it actually means. Um, so I mean, we would have to ask you. Oh, I don't know though. Like, it's difficult because there is such a blurred line between K dramas and K-pop and Black culture and Black music and Black cinema and entertainment. So that's a challenge. So I understand why she would write this in and be like, "Am I doing that? I don't know. Like
That's what
I
I
don't
mean.
know."
Even fetishization, it's like almost on a case by case basis, honestly. Because like it's hard to tell the difference between people who are drawn to a culture because it's similar to their culture, and then people who like only like things or people because they're from a culture because they have this imagination in their head. You know what I mean?
Right. Well, so then I mean, I was very excited about a new photo card I received from a friend as a present. I was showing it off, and most of the time I don't because of the Koreaboo thoughts. But this time I was really excited because, see, the thing though is like in this context, it sounds to me like the person she was showing the card to was like, almost was like, yeah, I know you love Korean people, like you talk about it all the time, or like you know what I'm saying. She's just like, it's just a guy on a card, dude. Like it's not that big of a deal. And then she said the boy thing, and then the person instantly was like, you're infantilizing, you're fetishizing, or whatever.
Yeah, that's also not enough information too, because
Right.
like maybe she does talk about K-pop
More
stuff
than she
all the
thinks.
time.
Yeah. And so that person was like, we fucking
Because
get it. You
this
love Korean everything.
this makes it seem like it was based off of this one
right.
interaction.
But why would that person say you're infantilizing from that one comment? You know what I mean? Like that
That's
kind
what
of
I mean.
comment, right?
That's why it came off like originally I assumed that it was more like projecting, but I guess you could be right. She could be talking about it more often
than not.
than she at least told
because somebody
us.
wouldn't just jump out and say you're infantilizing most of the
I
time.
mean, some people would, yeah, but yeah, I do know what you mean, yeah.
Right? I feel like I wouldn't immediately jump to like you're infantilizing because you fetishize Asian people. You know, I don't know that I would immediately jump to that unless I was informed from previous encounters with this person that they kind of do that. And this was finally my opportunity to be like, hey, you kind of do this. Do you realize you do that? And maybe that's part of why you like, you know what I mean? So these are only questions that you can answer. You know, only you can ask yourself, like, do I do that? Do I think all Asian men are X, Y, and Z? Do I infantilize them and fetishize them? I couldn't answer that for you. I couldn't tell you.
Yeah, because it's more of like an intention or like your motivation.
Or it's or like
Source of
a bias that you might not know you
Yeah.
have, And that happens to everybody. It happens to everybody. We all have internalized biases that we don't understand or we don't even recognize until somebody points it out. And maybe that was that opportunity. I don't know, but I think you should definitely ask yourself these questions because infantilizing and fetishizing Asian people is definitely something that happens quite often. Did you see that video that I made? Maybe not. About that woman who's like, I'm fully white and my husband is 100% Vietnamese and I'm pregnant and I want to know what my baby is going to look like.
Yeah, she's like normally it's not this setup. She's like normally it's like an Asian woman with a white man. So she's like, I think I commented on that video and I wrote like that's not how genetics works.
Right. So I'm going to be a little bit more real about what I wanted to say. The only reason I didn't say it is because she's pregnant. And if I had said you're fucking fetishizing your own child, how could you be so mean to her? She's pregnant. I don't want to fucking hear it. But I can say it here because I know that everybody watching or listening understands why I didn't say it so publicly.
Yeah.
Because, oh my God, and if anything happens with her pregnancy and like people like sent her hate, it would be no, I'm not fucking touching that with a fucking 10-foot pole. You got to be fucking kidding me. So I'm 7 months pregnant. My husband is Vietnamese. And I just want to know if you Asian mixed people, if you Wasians can show me what you look like so I can see what my baby is going to look like. Then she says, also, I know it's less common for a white woman to be married to an Asian than the reverse. She's clearly trying to like humble brag or like flex that like, I'm not like the other mixed couples. We're different because I'm the white one. And like, I'm the special one. You know what I'm saying? Like it really came off that way. And I know people are going to like, some people are going to jump to her defense. Don't post this on the TikTok either though. We'll just keep this on the fucking podcast. Because she very clearly wanted people to be like, and then is that Asian people were doing it? And like being like, I'm Asian and like this is my mix. It's like, you guys, what are you doing? You're fetishizing yourself. You're falling for her fetishization.
I mean, like that girl was not smart.
No.
You know what I mean? Like that's not how genetics works.
Of course not.
Like it doesn't matter what gender.
That don't look like each other. Yeah. You think you're gonna have look like a complete stranger. Also, Wasian is a blanket term for any Asian ethnicity mixed with white. White, Asian, Wasian. It could be any combination of so many different things. And for her to be like, show me what you look like. I want to see what my baby's going to look like. Your baby could look 100% Vietnamese. Your baby might look Mexican. Your baby could look completely white. You don't know. Maybe Filipino. You've seen all of my nieces and nephews. My 2 daughters look nothing alike. My daughters and my nieces and nephew look nothing alike.
Yeah.
My younger sister's kids, nothing alike. The littlest one, she looks like Filipina.
I mean, there are some genetics that like pass on from father or from your mother, like, your hair, stuff like that. But your looks, it's a crapshoot.
But even not your hair sometimes.
Yeah, no, because again, there's like combinations.
Genes and like who knows where somewhere was somebody was something different.
With 2 different possibilities, there's at least 4 configurations. That means you have a 25% chance or 50% chance of any which way happening.
Right.
It's a crapshoot.
Not to mention, when I went into the comment section, so many parents of mixed children were like, oh, my daughter has these exotic features. I'm like, don't use that term to describe your own kid. Like, your kid is not a fucking piece of furniture or a bird from South America in the San Diego Zoo. Like, that is not a term to be used for a person. And it's like, that's why I made the video. Because I feel like people who have mixed children need to learn these things, especially the white parent, obviously, because the white parent doesn't go through what the other parent has gone through and they have no point of reference. So when you exoticize your kid, fetishize your kid, think that all Asians are a monolith, show me what your Asian face looks like. What the fuck?
Oh man, this white kid that
really pissed me off.
That I like used to work with at Outback way back in the day. He had yellow fever and he said,
not a fucking compliment.
He said this thing to me that like has always stuck with me and I never really knew how to feel about it. But he was always like, man, I just wish I wasn't white. So like, I wasn't just like everyone else. And I just felt like he meant it as a compliment, but it always like made me feel weird. Cause it was like, that was like,
make you feel weird. That's a weird thing to say.
Well, because it was like something that always stood out to me. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like wherever I went, people always turned around because it was like, oh, there's someone who doesn't look like us. Like, why is he here? You know what I mean? But like, I think a lot of like those moms or those parents who are like, oh, my child has exotic features. Like they do the same thing.
Yeah.
I think they're like, oh, look, my kid has a little bit of flavor.
Well, no. And the thing is like what you don't understand when you use the term exotic, it's like compared to what?
Yeah.
What is the
That's
default?
what I'm saying.
Right. Like what is the default? You're saying my kid is exotic compared to, just say it, white people.
Yeah. Like
my kid is not white. And
mine has a little flavor, whereas like yours is just like bland.
Or like whatever the reason is like you are othering your own kid in their own fucking home. You look different. You're exotic. You're like, it's like something I picked up like in like, like What are you doing?
Yeah.
Don't fucking do that. And people were like, even some people, I could not have been nicer. Honestly, way nicer
Like,
than
I
thought
think that's how
I
they
wanted
really
to be.
think of it as. They're like, your family is just milk. I got me a little coffee and our child is a cappuccino.
Right,
Like,
exactly. That's exactly what it is. And it's like, aren't I special?
Yeah.
That's fetishizing. Hello? That's what that is. And they were like, maybe she's just excited to have a baby. I'm like, of course she is.
Yeah.
But she needs to understand. She asked, how can I be a better mother to a mixed race child? Let me start by, before that kid is born, tell you why this question was fucking problematic as fuck. Well, God, leave her alone. She's just happy and excited. Okay, she can be happy and excited, but these are things she should address.
Also,
and
like,
understand before that baby's born.
Why are you more okay with the kid being bullied by his own mother than a grown-ass woman being bullied because she's really just being educated?
And I really, honestly, go watch the video. Was so nice to her. Hey, I know you're super excited about having your baby, but maybe. And like, no matter what I do, if I'm addressing a white woman, I'm being aggressive and mean every fucking time. I could be dressed up in a fairy costume.
Why was I thinking fairy costume?
With glitter shooting out of my eyeballs, and a ray of sunshine coming out of my ass. And they'd be like, you're so mean.
That sounds aggressive.
Just glitter bombs just
like,
shooting out of my eye sockets.
Yeah, I was like, wow, that's aggressive.
Just bleeding fucking
rainbows,
maple syrup out of my fucking ears, okay?
Why?
I don't know. Something sweet and liquid. Anyway, yeah, so that really fucking bothered me. Sorry about the tangent, but it kind of ties in.
I don't even remember what the story was about anymore.
Fetishizing.
But no, I know. But yeah, that lady was the worst. I just saw that and I was like,
and I just know that that's just going to be her whole personality. Yeah. Her whole personality is my mixed race kid, my Wasian kid. And she's like, where are my Wasians at? It's like, they're not your Wasians. They're not your Wasians. You're a white lady.
Like, what did you guys do this past weekend? I had to make pho for my son. All right. This is another listener write-in. This one's a bit long.
That is so many pages, man.
It has been edited down a little bit. I'm going to try to get through this. Here we go. I'm listening to older podcasts and just came across one that sparked a memory of an incident that happened about 15 or 16 years ago. I don't know if you just accept these or get them from Reddit, but I might as well try. In high school, I was absolutely inseparable with a girl that is half white, half Vietnamese. We instantly clicked and bonded over being self-declared misfits, and I deeply miss her. But growing up, I realized I miss who she was, and that is exactly where the title comes in. But my mom is part Middle Eastern, and even though I look very white, I never fit in with my white classmates. As I grew up and after 9/11 happened, it went from being called a liar, people questioning whether or not that's really my mom, and being told there's no way I'm anything else because I look so white, to being bullied if anyone found out about my mom's background, to the point people made jokes about me dying and asking if we were terrorists.
Hilarious.
How original. Even in my own house, I never felt like I was good enough at representing my mom's family. She would make a lot of negative comments about, but the ones I still hear in my head are, why are you so white? Ooh, what's wrong with you? That's so mean.
Also, you made the choice to make me white.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. And I don't understand why you look so white when you're not.
That's really funny that we're talking about this.
That is funny.
Because genetics. Because I had nothing to do with it.
My mom can sit in the sun for 2 minutes and be so brown. My sister can sit in the sun for 2 hours and be brown. I can sit in the sun for 2 months, barely getting any color. I've always hated my skin tone because of this. As I got older, I wore hoodies or long sleeves on even the hottest days because I didn't want people seeing my skin. Oh, self-hatred is the worst. And I know so many people have the opposite and even face actual threats, get treated differently, and get racist comments because they aren't white or don't look white. So I always feel very guilty feeling this way about myself or feel like I shouldn't talk about how I feel. For as long as I can remember, it's always been to the point I never feel comfortable saying I'm part Middle Eastern, even amongst my Middle Eastern friends that know and keep reassuring me that I am and introduce me to the Middle Eastern friends in an inclusive way. But I still only ever say my mom is part Middle Eastern or my mom's family is from, oh, my mom's family is Middle Eastern because I look so far opposite and have felt so bad about my appearance that I don't feel like claiming it as mine. My friend knew. She was the one who she was the only one I felt like I could talk to about this. While I had spent more time with my non-white classmates because I had more in common with them, and she was always trying to fit in and be liked by her white classmates at any cost. How me and my friend met is walking home from school. Some boys started calling me names and throwing rocks at me because of my hair. And again, because we were in high school, my hair is extremely poofy and frizzy at this point because, quote, white products don't work on it. And that was my only option in stores back then. So I was never able to maintain it. She stuck up for me and chased them off, told me she thought my hair was cute. It made me seem childlike and added it made her think of her little sister and made me feel like she needed to protect me. Made her feel like she needed to protect me. She walked the rest of the way with me and we talked about our families, how out of place we felt, and how we couldn't wait to get out of here. And after that, we were inseparable. Nobody even existed when we were together. I can perfectly picture us on the bus together talking about whether what happened in school that day and how one day we were going to make it big and show them all. Whew. In high school, she started working as a barista. She was fired one day our senior year after a male customer made a comment fetishizing her and she threw his drink in his lap. Shortly after, she wound up working for a bikini barista hut.
What?
Oh, God, that sounds horrible.
That sounds dangerous.
As a high schooler? How is that
Also,
even
like
legal?
you're working with like hot coffee and like milk foamers, and you're in a bikini. A
Whoa.
health risk.
Lawsuit. And she was excited to tell me she always got more tips than her white coworkers, only ever coming in second to her fully Asian coworker, and how some customers would come back only when she was working or ask for her every time they went.
Ugh.
She was paired up
Is
with
that a real thing? Bikini baristas? Oh my God. That's crazy.
She was paired up with her Asian coworker for every shift soon after this. A couple of years later, she went on to become a stripper. And then years later, she started doing, quote, photo shoots.
I mean, it's not a photo shoot. It's really a photo shoot.
Yeah, I mean, why is it's still a photo shoot? We kept in touch, and even though I didn't feel great about what she was doing, I still loved and supported her. And here is where we had the falling out. Whew, here we go. One day in her mid-20s, she was excited to show me a new shoot she worked on. She said it was sure to finally launch her career, and she wanted me to be the first to see it. It was a shoot fetishizing her Asian background, and it didn't stop there. It wasn't just her background. They would change the makeup and change the clothes. They made her look Vietnamese, Chinese, Korean, Japanese, and Thai.
Oh,
And they even had each different captions under them like, quote, the dragoness.
Can't.
Or, quote, I'm skilled with chopsticks.
Oh my God, please kill me.
Or, quote, oh God,
No.
me love you long
No,
time.
please, nope.
Because most of my friends growing up were Asian and I had seen, heard slash heard some of their experiences, everything about this felt so wrong to me. But because I'm white, I wasn't sure if I could say anything to her. You're not white. But I cared so much about my friend that I didn't want to anger or hurt her. I tried to be positive.
Didn't she go on and on about not being white?
Yeah. I tried to be positive and focus on the things I like, even though it wasn't necessarily about her shoot. Either she knew me too well or I didn't do a great job. I said things like, that's such a pretty kimono, or I love the color of that cheongsam, or, oh, that hanbok is cute. And it seemed positive enough to me. She immediately asked why I didn't like them, and I told her I never said I didn't like them and tried, stupidly, to say I like that she wants to show an appreciation for so many cultures. She pushed on it and started to get mad at me for, quote, not being honest, and even fed me a guilt trip about how it could make or break her career. How could I not tell her something was wrong? So I finally told her I felt like she was really feeding into the fetish of Asian women And it would be one thing to show these garments as they should traditionally be worn in a beautiful, elegant, and modest way. But this was intentionally making them very slutty with a lot of boobs and butt, making Asian women out to be objects while captioning them with very harmful captions. She went off on me for a while. The last thing she ever said to me was, quote, "You wouldn't understand because you're white and you have no culture."
Fuck.
There were a lot of other things that I can't even remember now. This one stung a little extra because she always knew how I have felt about how I look in my mom's background. She knew I always felt like, quote, the odd man out because I was raised with my mom's culture, even though I'm white. So I never quite felt like I fit in. She knew how much that comment would hurt me and she stuck to it. She reached out to me a couple years later, but it was only to remind me that the last time we talked was so excited to show me something and how much I heard her over what I said. She didn't say anything else. I think about that every now and again, and I always feel like I did something wrong. It's been over 10 years since we've spoken. Now that I'm older and people are speaking up about things like this, I feel like it was right to say something, but part of me also remembers what she said and wonders if I was wrong to say anything. Am I the asshole?
God. You were right.
That's really bad.
That's so bad. Like, oh, where do I begin? Where do I begin? Um, I think you were right. Obviously she was just being fetishized, and to just appropriate these things in this way for money as an Asian person, it's a problem. It's a problem for me. Um, and I think she came at you the way that she did because deep down she knew you were right. And deep down she was like, "Yeah, I know I'm doing these things and I'm selling tits and ass for money and foregoing what I know to be right for this. So fuck you. Let me say whatever I can to hurt you the most so that, you'll shut the fuck up."
Yeah. But then there's always those skits where people are like, "Oh, we need you," like people will be at like an audition and they're like, "We need you to be a little bit more Asian,"
Right.
which, and then they're like, "All right, well, if you don't want to do it, then," they're like, "We'll find someone else who will take this gig for
Sure.
like 10 grand." And like, they're like trying to make it as an actor
Oh,
and they're
yeah,
like
absolutely.
trying not to pay rent. So there will always be that person. So I don't know. I feel like knowing her friend, she should have been able to assess whether she's not smart enough to realize what was happening, or if she, even before that, I feel like she should have known that her friend could be someone who would be the person who will always take the gig.
Maybe. Maybe. I think
Is she the asshole for telling her friend that she was appropriating Asian cultures?
I don't think you're the asshole for that. I think you have to, if you have concerns or you are seeing something that maybe your friend isn't seeing or recognizing, I don't think it's being an asshole by bringing it to their attention. And if that asshole, I'm sorry, if that friend, if that asshole responds and says something, that deeply hurts you, that they know is like a personal thing that makes you, upset and hurt, then, all right, well, I hope the next 10 years is good for you. You know what I mean? Or like, see you later, or see you never.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I don't think she said it in a mean way or anything at all.
I don't know. It was so long. I did drift in and out a little bit.
A little bit.
Right?
I think the story could have honestly just started with the photo shoot.
I have really bad ADHD. So I'm
Same.
like, what? I mean, the backstory was important because
It was.
now we know why what she said was so hurtful to her. But nonetheless,
yeah,
what you said was right. I mean, you were actually probably ahead of your time in speaking about these things 15, 16 years ago because a lot of people weren't talking about it. And nothing you said was incorrect. She is appropriating different Asian cultures and using their traditional costumes and clothing to, to sell photos or whatever. And it's a problem. I think it's a problem. I've always thought it's a problem, and I don't disagree. And, losing a friend over something like that, I mean, shit happens.
Yeah, and that's what I mean, where it's also like a little bit more than appropriation because they're like exploiting it. Those traditional garbs are not meant to be used for people who are especially not from the culture to fetishize these women. Yeah. You know what I mean? So definitely she didn't do anything wrong, but I feel like she should have known that her friend was going to purposefully be obtuse or just like, was unintentionally obtuse, maybe a nice way to put it. And
I wonder what her
take it
friend's
the wrong
doing
way
now.
anyway.
I want to find out. I want to know what she's doing. Has she learned? Does she understand why it's an issue now? Like now that she's a little bit older, or does she still just not give a fuck? Because there's people who just don't give a fuck.
Right.
They don't. Hello?
Yeah. Maybe she has like a lucrative modeling career. Maybe it's like, maybe it was Devin Aoki. Oh, she was half Vietnamese. Never mind.
Well, on that note.
Well, we only had time for two stories. Well, one was like 4 stories.
We do love the write-ins,
we do,
and we
do.
appreciated that you took so much time to give us so many details. We really do.
But thank you for listening, and you can catch us on our socials.
Suji01 on TikTok and Instagram.
I'm at Etch-a-Sketch with the J. This little one's at Archie and Colt on Instagram. You can find us on Instagram and TikTok at What in the Shibal, Shibal. If you do have any write-ins for us, any questions, advice, am I the assholes? Write us in at whatintheshibal, that's Shibal at gmail.com. If you're watching us, if you're listening to us, if you're listening to us, know that there is a video version on YouTube. And if you're watching us on YouTube, make sure you like, subscribe, and ring the bell.
Ding.
Otherwise, thank you for joining us, and we'll catch you on the next one.
Okay,
bye.
Bye, Archie. See you later. I'll see you later. Don't.